Hello YouTube, Crafty Mofo here. I just wanted to make a quick video because, well, I'm doing it and I feel like it would be very handy for other people too because there is no video on it explaining why this is a problem and how to fix it. So this is one of my first videos, so bear with me. Anyway, so these ceramic trees are becoming all the rage lately. They are from the 70s. They have newer modern ones now, but the 70s ones seem to be of collector value. One thing people don't realize about them though is even though they have a brand name on the bottom, this one happens to be an Atlantic mold. They were actually made in a paint your own pottery place in the 70s. And the painting on them varies drastically between them. Some of them are painted very well, and some of them are painted very terribly. This one, I think, personally, is painted very well. This one was made in 1974, and it is Atlantic Mold Company who made this particular design. Not the painter. I don't know who painted it. I think her name's like Debbie or something. And so I get the tree. I got it at a garage sale for $10, which was a steal. And it was missing probably 30 of its, no, it was probably missing like 40 of its lights. And the lights are actually light bright pegs of sorts. So, you know, you put them in the holes like a light bright, and then the base from inside illuminates them, and it's very nice and pretty. So I went online and I wanted to match the ones that it came with, and the ones that it came with are actually this white one is original to it, and I think also this specific color of green was one of the originals. And so I went online and I found this company that used to sell ceramics back in the day, and they still have originals from then. So these are vintage pegs that were brand new in their bag that have that star pattern. They call it twinkling, I think. That's what this pattern's called. They're for the larger ones. So what I did was I was able to take out one of the originals, measure the base. So when you're looking to buy these for your tree, measure this part, how fat it is, and also how big they are, because there's some of them that are actually very tiny and would either fall through these holes or just not look very pretty. So I got them in the mail, and I go to put them in the holes. Well, some of them are beautiful and they go right in the hole. Other ones don't fit, and you're like, what the heck? Well, you would think, well, maybe I bought the wrong size, and so you'll go and buy the next size down. That probably won't work because they probably won't sit right on the tree, and that's not your problem. The problem is that since these are handmade, that the holes can get pinched when it's, wet clay, or glaze can get inside the hole, which would make it, either bent or misshapen. So these don't go in. And unfortunately, I have about 30 of them on this specific tree that I have to modify in order to fit inside the tree. And so you can do this in a couple different ways, and I'll go over the pros and cons and ideas I had that didn't work. The first idea I had was I would just file them with some nail files. This will work. It will take a long time. Maybe if you only had like 5 to 10 of them that you were doing, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But I have a lot, and my fingers just couldn't take it. So I was like, all right, need to figure out a way to work smarter than that. So I got out my handy dandy Dremel, and this has a diamond bit on it, which probably isn't the best for working with plastics. This is like more for like working with ceramic. You could, I suppose, make the holes bigger with something like this, but I feel like you're playing with fire. You're gonna possibly damage the tree itself because it could crack at any second, and I would cry so hard. So instead, I'd much rather you know, deal with one of these, and if I mess up one of these aren't that expensive. So very slowly you take your Dremel. First of all, actually, get yourself a clamp. That's all. That saved my fingers. And this one you can adjust down here. There's all kinds. I mean, I'm sure there's different kinds of clamps you could use, but you know, you can hold the thing while you're working on it, and it's much easier and safer, especially when you're working with the Dremel. Then, so, I'm trying not to say so then I just said then so. But anyway, you then take your Dremel and you file it down. And this is really rough. And I left it rough intentionally to show that you still actually probably need your nail file to take off all these little chunks that the Dremel did. Like, I think that the reason why this is happening is because it's actually melting it a little. So I'm actually getting it off in bigger chunks, but it's not that big of a deal. But anyway, you file it down and you make it as smooth as possible. And then you can, you know, keep going until it fits. Or one thing that I've been doing is then taking a lighter and then I torch the end of it. Not to the point, you have to be careful because you don't want it to catch fire. If it catches fire, it will turn black. You don't want that because any sort of like an obstacle for the light to get through is going to make it so that it doesn't light up as brightly or as beautifully. So you file it down, and then you take your lighter, and if you use your lighter, it turns it back clear, which this one, I don't know if you can see that. I mean, this one's ugly. It's not my best work. I'm still working on getting good, but once you have it, you can put it in. There you go. And you can't tell. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to glue these all in because there was just so much modification that had to happen that whoever gets this next, if they fall out, you ain't getting it back in. It's going to be quite the project to figure out which misshapen light on the, you know, on the base fits into which one of these misshapen holes. So I also think that's why when you're buying these, some of them are glued in. That's probably why, is because somebody probably went through and already did this. And actually I was noticing that some of the vintage ones, you can tell have a modification to them also. So I think that this was just always just the way it was. Another thing you can do, though I don't recommend, is that you can just like melt them and then shove them in. The problem with that is that some of these holes are kind of on the smaller side, so when you do that, it just kind of shoves all the plastic up. Like it's like you push in and then all of a sudden you got this big blob and it looks like somebody who doesn't know how to use a glue gun kind of a look, you know, where it's just gross. You don't want that. You want these to go in nicely so that they're sitting, and you don't, I mean, you can't even tell that this one was melted in any way, shape, or form. And another thing you can do too is that if you get really, really close and there's not a lot of extra plastic like that one I showed, like if you get them, you know, pretty whittled down, then you can light it and you can kind of push it in a little and it'll stay. And sometimes actually you don't even have to glue it after that. It can also, if you do that and you push it in, sometimes like you can see that it's starting to like glob up like that again. Pull it back out, let it dry, and then it'll actually show you where you need to file or file down more. So it's kind of like a hint of where the weird obtrusion is in here, of why it's not going down inside of it. Trying to see on my notes, did I say everything? Color, glaze. Okay, one last thing. When you are, so these sometimes come out rough, like, let me see if I can find one, like this one. I don't know if you can see, but there's like a very clear edge that's gross. And the originals that I have are not like that. If you take your lighter and you just like, there you go, and you just kind of hit it the edge, it makes that go away, and it makes them nice and smooth and pretty again. But anyway, that's my hint and my tricks on how to get this to work and to be pretty. I hope to have more vintage holiday videos, Halloween, Christmas, Mardi Gras, you name it. I do it all. I decorate big time for it. I also go to estate sales and I resell those items on eBay. So look up our shop on eBay, which is just Crafty Mofos, the same as this channel. And I hope you guys have a good day. Thanks.